Hey there, we're going to talk about three things I feel like husbands need to hear on a daily basis from their wives. And honestly, I also need reminders because between my teen and work and keeping houseplants alive and all the chores that need to be done, it is so easy to let intentional connection fall to the wayside. But these three things are very simple and literally have changed the tension in my marriage, and they might just do the same thing for you. So the first one is, I love you. I know it seems so obvious, all the things we do. We show that we love them, but they need to hear it too. I think our husbands need the verbal reassurance just as much as we do, and sometimes maybe even more. They're not mind readers, and between work stress and family responsibilities, I think they can feel insecure and uncertain just like we can. I remember when Jared was in the military and I rarely saw him. I felt super resentful and exhausted from solo parenting, and neither one of us had said, I loved you or love you or any of the sort in days. And my brain just kept ruminating about how this marriage, it wasn't exactly how I expected it to be and that I'm not happy. And the tension just grew very thick in our lives. And I finally just stopped one day and I paused and just said, I love you. And not because he did anything, but just because I did and I was ready to cut that tension. And his whole demeanor changed. So even if you're mad or if you're tired or if you don't feel like saying it or that you're not getting anything in return, just say it anyways. Trust me, those three words are foundational for everything else in this video. The second thing your husband needs to hear is, I'm proud of you. I think most men crave that respect and recognition, especially from the woman that they've chosen to build a life with. My husband doesn't need me to like stroke his ego or anything, but he does need to know that I see his effort and value his contributions to our family. Whether it's how he handled a difficult conversation with our son, or maybe how he did a great job on his workout and he's taking care of his body, or even that he just fixed that leaky sink that was driving me nuts. My husband's learning to read the stock markets right now and trade so he can earn a little bit of extra income for our family's dreams. And if you know anything about the stock market, it is cray and very volatile. And there are many ups and downs. But this day he was having a down day and he was really, really hard on himself. And I honestly cringe at the idea of losing money, but I looked at him and just said, I'm really proud of how you want to learn new things and that you support our family's ambitions and you want to dream with us as a family and make more income so we can live out those dreams. And learning to do something is not easy. That didn't cost me a thing to acknowledge to his face his sacrifice, but it meant everything to him. So, the third thing that your husband needs to hear on a daily basis is you're doing a great job. Because let's be honest, I really think men want to win and they want to succeed, especially at home. I truly believe that they don't want to disappoint us. When Jared spends time with our son, but he doesn't do it my way, I think we have two choices. We can criticize the way that he's doing it, or we can affirm that he's doing a good job, especially if we want more of that behavior. I've learned the hard way that when I constantly criticize my husband or correct him, it just makes him disengage completely because he doesn't want to disappoint. So think about the areas where your husband might feel uncertain. It could be parenting, helping around the house, supporting your dreams. Those are all the areas that he needs that affirmation to hear. Hey, you're doing a good job. Not you could do better if, or that's great, but next time do XYZ, just straight up affirmation. I remember when we lived in Japan and I felt like I did everything. I had recently been to a seminar, it was a business seminar, and somehow they ended up talking about marriage. And this woman said something that was kind of bizarre to me, but she's like, find something your husband does well or does, and then tell him he's doing a great job. She added, which I thought was pretty funny, but a little extreme. She's like, I don't care if he puts on his pajamas well, tell him he did a great job doing that. Again, I thought that was super silly, but I understood what she was doing. She was helping me to rewire my brain because my brain was seeing all the negative, and even something like taking out the trash or putting on pajamas well was seeing the good side of things, that it's not all bad. So I was seeing all the things he wasn't doing, and I was fixated on that and ruminating, and it was causing a lot of problem in our marriage. I told him, you're doing an amazing job with taking out the trash. You have no idea how much it helps me. I really appreciate you. At that time, we were living in Japan, and it was like the third story of an apartment. I had an 18-month-old, so anywhere I went, he had to go. So if I'm carrying trash bags and a child, it just made it very difficult for me. So sometimes the trash would just sit there right by our door and then smell up our house. But my husband was really good at taking it out for the most part. And so I wanted to see more of that behavior. So I wanted to encourage him by saying, hey, you're doing such a great job and thank you. I really appreciate what you're doing. So find something for your husband and see like what that is for him, and just compliment him, appreciate him, affirm him, and watch his face light up. And you just have to see it for yourself. Not everybody is going to be about taking out the garbage. It could be anything. I know that some of you are thinking, but what about me? He doesn't affirm me. I get it. I get it. I really do. Some days I'm running on fumes. I haven't showered in what feels like days. And the last thing I want to do is boost someone else's confidence when mine is in the negative. But here's what I've discovered. Affirmation creates a cycle. When I intentionally speak these words to Jared, something shifts in our relationship. He stands taller. I stand taller. He engages more. He notices me more. He offers to do things more because he feels like he didn't disappoint, and he wants to do more of the stuff that didn't disappoint. Was it a magical transformation? No. Do we still argue about who needs to clean the toilet? Yes. The emotional temperature in our home has changed, and it started with my words. I didn't have to wait for him to change. Look, I'm going to be real with you for a minute. Marriage can feel very hard. Parenting can feel even harder. And doing both of those while trying to maintain your own identity feels impossible some days. But these three simple phrases, I love you, I'm proud of you, you're doing a good job. They're like three little investments in your relationship bank account, and they cost you nothing, but they mean everything. And here's a little secret. Saying these things out loud changes something in me too. When I verbalize that love and that pride and the appreciation, I start feeling those emotions and noticing more things like that. So on days when resentment is threatening to take over and I want to throw punch people, which I'm sorry to say that, but it does happen some days, these intentional affirmations help me to remember why I chose this man in the first place, why I chose to have a child in the first place. Because I have a teenager, it's not easy, but overall, I do enjoy and love and have so much love for my family. But there are days that I just feel kind of wonky. So, no, your marriage is not going to magically fix itself with these three little phrases, but they're a starting point. It's a daily practice that can begin to shift the dynamic when everything is feeling broken. So, here's my challenge for you. Over the next 7 days, say these three things to your husband every single day. I mean, if you want to say it to your child too, you can totally do that because I think that'll just improve it. It also works on children. I'm proud of you. I love you. You're doing a good job. If you need to, write them on a sticky note. Let them see it. Set a reminder on your phone because it's probably not going to be natural at first. But whatever it takes, just make sure it happens. Then come back and tell me what changed, not just in him or your children, but in you. Because I believe that these simple words can begin to transform your marriage, even in the midst of beautiful chaos. That that's how I like to describe family life because it is. It's a beautiful chaos. And I often have to remind myself, hey, this is the first time I've made it this far in marriage. Hey, this is the first time I've made it this far in parenting a teenager. Like, let's have some grace and honor for each other. Remember that all these small changes can make a huge difference. Thank you.